The first shot cracked through the midnight fog like a bone snapping in the dark, and the bridge trembled under the weight of fear. Sergeant Alara Mendez felt the vibration through her palms as she pressed them against the cold steel railing, blood already drying on her sleeves. The river below swallowed the moonlight, and the enemy's shadows moved along the far embankment like a rising tide. She was a combat nurse, not a frontline commander, yet in that suspended hour between life and death, she stood as the only barrier between the wounded behind her and the advancing force ahead. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in ordinary people rising in impossible moments, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Bright Hearts, because stories like this remind us who we can be when the world turns dark. The bridge had been meant as a temporary crossing, a narrow strategic link between the ravaged village and the field hospital 2 kilometers west. By day it was chaos, stretchers rattling over planks, medics shouting vitals, engines coughing out black smoke. But at midnight it became something else entirely, a silent corridor suspended over black water, the only artery still pulsing in a battlefield that had almost stopped breathing. When the ambush came, it came with ruthless precision. The rear convoy had been hit, the security unit scattered, and the small defensive team guarding the bridge was pulled back to reinforce the hospital. Alara had been ordered to evacuate the last of the wounded and retreat, but the final transport truck had stalled at the far end, its engine pierced by shrapnel. 3 critically injured soldiers lay inside, sedated and barely stable. Moving them across open ground would kill them. Leaving the bridge would open the way for the enemy to sweep straight to the hospital tents where dozens of lives hung by threads. Alara was 29 years old, with hands trained to stitch arteries and restart failing hearts, not to hold territory under fire. Yet as she looked back at the truck's dark silhouette and then forward into the drifting smoke, something inside her locked into place. The bridge was narrow. The approach was exposed. If she could delay them, just delay them, reinforcements might circle back by dawn. It was a fragile plan made of hope and desperation, but it was all she had. She dragged a metal crate across the planks to create a barrier, her muscles screaming in protest. She positioned the last remaining rifle left by a retreating guard, her fingers trembling as she checked the magazine. She was not thinking about tactics, she was thinking about the 3 unconscious men behind her and the dozens more who would die if the enemy crossed. The first wave tested her resolve. Shapes darted along the riverbank, muzzle flashes tearing small suns into the night. The bridge sang with the sharp metallic whine of bullets. Alara ducked, heart hammering so violently she feared it would give away her position. She forced herself to breathe the way she taught patients to breathe through pain, slow, deliberate, anchored. When she returned fire, it was not with anger but with clarity. Each shot was a statement, "You will not pass tonight." She moved between cover points she had improvised from supply crates and sandbags, counting rounds, rationing courage. The smell of cordite mixed with antiseptic still clinging to her uniform. War and medicine fused into a single unbearable reality. Minutes felt like hours. Hours threatened to break her. The radio at her belt crackled once and then fell silent, the battery had nearly died. She was alone in every sense that mattered. At one point, a flare lit the sky, drenching the bridge in ghostly white. For a breathless second, she saw the river's surface ripple and the outline of figures advancing cautiously. She also saw her reflection in a shard of